Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the new Marvel Legends Doctor Doom, part of the Zemnu Build-A-Figure wave. This is the Doom in the white, obviously, with the new sculpt work, and kind of a cool accessory. I think it's a really cool accessory. There's definitely lots to like about this figure, and a few things that are maybe not as good, so plenty of stuff to talk about despite the reused parts. So let's go ahead and get him off the stand and take a closer look. This guy stands just about 6 3/4 inches tall to the very top of his hood, which makes him pretty close to 17 centimeters. And as you've noticed probably at this point, it is basically the same figure that we got of the previous Doctor Doom, but with a new torso, a couple other slight changes. Mainly the torso though. I believe I don't know if the head's new or not. I thought it was, but now I'm thinking it's not. I can't remember. It doesn't really matter. New parts, they're good. That's fine. Before we get into that though, question of the day, white or green for Doctor Doom? Which do you prefer? For me, it's got to be the classic green, but the white does look pretty spiffy. Okay, now let's go ahead and talk about the aesthetics on this figure. They did make him out of a molded metallic. It's not painted, any of the silver's painted except for this right here, and like little details on the face. And they actually did a really good job. The marbling is a lot more consistent. There's not too much of it that I'm getting, so hopefully you guys don't have that problem either. It's got a very nice glossy look to it also. Very, very appealing, the sun. There's no sun in here. The light catches it very well, and it looks nice and shiny, so I like that. I will note though, his face plastic is a different color than the rest of his body, and I don't believe that is supposed to be the case. We do have two very obvious tones on the face, which is clearly intentional, and they did that, I guess, for well, maybe it's not intentional, I don't know, because pretty much everything matches except for the faceplate itself. So I'm not sure what's up with that. That would definitely look better if it matched. Additionally, we do have the separate hood from the cape in order to make posability an option. But there's a lot of gapping going on. They did not put enough of the cape in there to go around, so there's a lot of gapping, and it definitely could look better. It's going to impede some people's ability to pose it for photography. But otherwise, the cape does look pretty good. It hangs pretty well. Can't really complain about that too much, but again, you can see on the back, there's a gap going all the way around, which definitely looks terrible. Hood is nicely the hood is nicely shaped, that's good. The skirt is still textured, nothing else is textured on him, so that's a little bit strange, but the skirt itself looks pretty cool. I do want to point out though, his skirt is still too long, and his proportions, while decent for Marvel Legends, are just so not the way Doom is drawn. Like, he's drawn fairly... Okay. We'll use the back image. He's drawn with a very, very broad chest, broad torso, broad shoulders. His skirt is supposed to be shorter. In this, it's like his skirt's way longer, and his chest and shoulders and everything are way narrower. Like, his upper body is just scaled down so much compared to how he's usually drawn. And his skirt is scaled up. It's completely unappealing compared to even the artwork Hasbro provided. It's fine on its own, I suppose. And compared to other Marvel Legends, it's got pretty good proportioning. But I don't know why they're so against making these guys shaped like comic book characters. Like, their figures not almost all, a lot of their figures these days are looking like people in costumes, like regular people, like Halloween costumes. I don't get why his chest isn't big. Like, why isn't he just shaped like that? I don't get it. Okay, anyway, otherwise it looks pretty good. I can't really complain about too much because it's all molded plastic. The whites are white, that's good. The silvers are silver, that's good. All the sculpt work is there. It's all fine. The eyes look good, the face looks good other than the color difference. Like, the issues are small other than the overall proportioning. So, if you don't care about that, then you're going to like it. There's no shading on it anywhere. That's definitely a bummer. They would look better with shading, but it does look pretty good for what it is. My biggest gripe is, other than the proportions, is the gapping around the cape. So for the aesthetics, I'll give it an 8 out of 10. It's still pretty good. It's fine. But there are definitely some issues that I take issue with. I take issues with those issues. Alright, as far as accessories go, we have one fist hand, one trigger finger hand, one gripping hand, and then two blast effect type hands, but they're very feminine. It's a little bit weird that he has those hands. They're not quite what I would have expected for him, but he does have them. So it's 5 different hands. And we do get a gun, which is in his holster, and that's fine. That's for the trigger finger hand. And then lastly, we get the Titan skull and spinal column, the Thanos skull. That's a cool accessory. It's a little creepy looking in the eye area, but really cool accessory. I like that they gave him that. So not a bad spread of accessories other than the hands being a really weird sculpt. Like, they're super feminine hands for Doctor Doom. Don't get it. 8 out of 10 for the accessories. Not bad at all still. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about the articulation. The head. Okay, well, the head is on the same neck as before, but what I was trying to show you is this. And it's just your standard hinge and ball peg, and that'll work fine, but you do get the neck like before, and this one clearly, unlike one of my previous Dooms where I couldn't get the neck to move at all, this one moves just fine. In fact, it pops out fairly easily, so you can move it around. It doesn't have a ton of range the way they connected the neck that way, because there's not like much of a lip on the ball, but it does move around, and you'll be able to get the posing done with the head just fine. For the shoulders, you know what, let's just take the cape off. Cape does come off, if you were wondering. Shoulders get better than horizontal. That works no problem at all. That's good. Full rotation, obviously. Bicep swivel is fine. Double jointed elbows, plenty. That's fine. Wrists have a swivel and a hinge. And then for the diaphragm joint, there is not one. There is no diaphragm joint. All we have is our lower torso joint, which does lean forward and back really well. Mine's all scuffed up. Maybe that's just like mold release or lube. No, it's scuffed up. That's a shame. There's there is some goo on there, but it is also scuffed up. Well, anyway, it goes forward and back really well. Side to side, really well. That's nice. Rotation, it does rotate, but it snaps, so... that scares me. That's the kind of snapping that sounds like it could break. But it does work, yeah. It works really nicely. I like that. I do wish he had some torso articulation, especially since, like, there's plenty of ways they could have cut that in there. But that'll do. That's okay. His skirt does have cuts on both sides, so it should allow some range for the hips. Yeah, it'll work. I mean, with those hands, you could pretty much pose him like this and it would make sense. But you can bring his leg forward, and you can't go back very far. Out to the side is pretty good. Not bad. It splits the skirt. Thigh swivel is a thigh swivel, double jointed knees. Double jointed knees, we've seen all this before. Ankles go pretty far back. Far enough forward, I would say that's alright, and then you get a decent ankle rocker. It's just like the other Dooms. There's not a whole lot going on here other than a few sculpt changes, which doesn't change the articulation really. And that's a good thing. It was a good figure before, it's still a good figure now. Oh god, I hate how much of a gap there is on that cape around the neck. Does not look good. Does not look good. But yeah, the articulation is what you would expect, so I'll give it an 8 for this guy. It's pretty solid for being relatively bulky. And everything that he's got going on, that's a good batch. That's fine. Could be better. That's why it's only an 8. Alright, as far as the final verdict on this guy goes, I would say there's no reason not to get it. If you were interested in getting this version of Doom, go ahead and get it. I think you will be fine with it. It definitely could have better proportions, as evidenced by the artwork shown on the package that he comes in. But all in all, it's a pretty good release. A few nagging things like the cape or the discolored or miscolored face. No shading, you know, some of the extra bits and bobs aren't there, but it's still another strong release. It was a good Doom body before, and most of it's still the same thing. So I'm going to give it a final verdict of 8 out of 10. I think you should get it. If you're into the white outfit for Doom, go ahead and get it. If you're not, then you probably don't care anyway, and it doesn't matter what I say. So there it is, guys. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you might want to. I have new videos almost every single day, and thousands already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.